This scene illustrates the steps taken to create and prioritize the product backlog item. The product backlog item represents user stories a team needs to complete. User stories are thin, vertical slices of product functionalities. These stories are groomed and prioritized throughout the project because with incremental development there is constant feedback and testing. The PBI continues to evolve and change as more information is gathered. The product owner is responsible for creating and maintaining the product backlog item. The goal of product backlog grooming is to review all the PBI and rank them so that they can be consumed by the sprint teams. A form as shown below is used to record product backlog grooming. SoftWrite Inc. has been awarded the highly coveted hospital management system. Marlon is the product owner and has called a meeting to go over the big picture of developing this system. Sam, the Scrum Master, Anil, the lead software engineer, Alice, the UI designer coder, and Yang, the lead software engineer in testing, have all assembled in the meeting room.
All right, thank you all for coming here today. As the Scrum Master, I will be facilitating this meeting for our product grooming backlog. As you're all aware, this is a very important project for the success of our company, so let's begin with any questions anyone has. Go ahead.
I was reading through Marlon's email and did not get a feel of the time commitment for this meeting. Do you think we'll get out of this room within 2 hours?
Yeah, Yang, very good question there. I forgot to mention I've boxed the time for about 2 hours for this meeting. Assuming we stay on point and go through everything properly, 2 hours should be adequate.
Sam, this is my second PB grooming meeting and I want to get it right. Can you go over the rankings on how we're going to rank the user stories?
Anil, I was really hoping that you'd be better prepared for this meeting. I'll go over it once in this time, but in all future meetings we're going to have to take this sort of thing offline. First off, the PBIs that we're working on are ranked based on customer use only, and as I'm sure you're all aware, the objective of this meeting is to create PBIs that are independent, negotiable, valuable, small, and testable. And so our task today is to look at the big picture, break it down into user stories, go from A to Z, and ranking them from 1 to 10, with 1 being the most important, ranked on the following criteria. So number 1, commercial value of having the story or feature. Number 2, degree of certainty and amount of learning for new skills / technology issues to implement the story. Number 3, the amount of risk removed by developing the story, focusing primarily on schedule, budget, scope, and the technology required for it. And number 4, cost of developing and delivering the story.
I understand. I'm sorry. I just had to ask to make sure I got the ranking right.
Okay. Anil, as this product backlog follows best practices, it will follow the same criteria as any normal Scrum.
Yes, I agree.
All right, so let's begin then. Marlon, as you are the product owner, you can begin this meeting first.
As the product owner at this time, my priorities for this project are administrative functions, medical staff, login, logout features, and I really need a user interface.
Okay. Well, as we only have 2 hours, let's focus on the first 2 points, and we'll go through them individually. You will give them a ranking, and then the group will agree or disagree. So, is that okay with everyone?
I feel that we need to understand the requirements more. Marlon points out his needs, and for that we need a back-end database. So we need to do some research on database systems, create a database, and then move forward.
Anil, you are a database expert, so I'll leave it up to you. For me, what I need is a product. When can you give it to me?
Well, as we are all working on a team, and we will be working on a day-to-day basis, I think it's best that we are all kept up to speed on what is and is not needed. So Anil does bring up a valid point for this one. There doesn't seem to be a requirement for a database, and it's a very important aspect of our product. So do we all agree that this user story needs to be placed on the list?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, so let's get to work on prioritizing our items.
Let's place the UI feature on top of our PBI. This is important because this is what the client will see.
I agree. Not all UIs are made the same, so I think it's definitely important that we look at this very carefully.
I would still say we do the database first because the UI needs to interact with the database. So we need to get the database set up first.
And no, can't we do this after the UI is ready?
It will be difficult for the UI to work with it, so I suggest we move it up.
I agree. This is also important for testing, and that's a more logical flow.
This scene illustrates the steps taken to create the sprint backlog from the product backlog items. The sprint backlog represents user stories a team needs to complete in a sprint. User stories are thin, vertical slices of product functionalities. The sprint plan is usually 2 weeks long and is planned out in a 4-hour time-boxed sprint planning meeting. The goal of the sprint planning meeting is to agree on the sprint goals and negotiate which items from the PBI should be committed to the sprint backlog. In addition, the sprint team should also come up with an initial list of tasks to complete the committed PBIs. SoftWrite Inc. has been awarded the highly coveted hospital management system. Sam, the Scrum Master, Anil, the lead software engineer for databases, Alice, the UI designer coder, and Yang, the lead software engineer in testing, have all assembled in the meeting room for a sprint planning meeting in a team room. Prior to this meeting, the team had met for the product backlog refinement meeting, which resulted in the following PBIs.
All right, thank you all for being here today. As the Scrum Master, I will be facilitating this meeting. As you're all aware, that this is a very important project for our company, and that what we do today can, change the success of this project. So I boxed about 4 hours for this meeting. So during this time, we will commit to the PBIs and come up with tasks for a 2-week sprint.
Sounds good.
All right. If Marlon is okay with the way the project is prioritized, we can begin.
Yeah, I think we planned for 2 weeks for this sprint. Should we stick with 2 weeks or should we go for 4 weeks?
Well, though the sprint can take 4 weeks, I think with the way this team is organized, 2 weeks should be about adequate.
Okay.
Does that mean that this sprint is for development only and there will be another sprint for testing? If that's the case, I don't need to be here.
Well, hold on, Yang. That's not exactly how Scrum works. The sprint is designed to be shippable every 2 weeks. What this means is the team should be able to perform analysis, design, implement, test, integrate, and complete the product during the development sprint. The team will be using test-driven development, so you're not off the hook on this one.
That's asking for a lot of testing in such a short period.
Well, you need to remember that in Agile development, we do not place testing at the end of the SDLC like we would for a prescriptive method. This is why sprint planning is so important. The team needs to be very selective in committing PBIs. This entire team is responsible for making sure the item committed in the sprint are completed and tested. Therefore, everyone has to wear a different hat at some point.
By the way, if anyone comes to you and want to add tasks to our sprint goals, that person needs to come to me first. And I will add the tasks to our project backlog. I do not want to deviate from our goals, and I do not want to interrupt this team unless it's very important.
Yeah, I think we got the details of the process. We need to move forward now as we only have 3 hours and 45 minutes left.
So Marlon, what is our goal for this sprint?
My goal right now is the logging feature. I think that should be top priority. Let's consider that as our goal.
All right, so everyone take out your card and we'll vote on how long we think this user story will take.
For me, 7.
8.
I think 6.
Okay, so I'm looking at 8 hours here to develop this particular user story. Is everyone okay with that?
Sure, how difficult would that be? Let's get it in the commit list.
Okay.
Well, but this is the gateway to a lot of personal and medical information. There's a lot of testing to be done for this. I go for 8 for now, and I still want to discuss this a lot more after we have logging all the user stories.
As a medical staff, I want to be able to register, log in, log out, change my password, and request a password reset. As an administrator, I want to be able to create or delete users.
So based on what you've just said, this system is going to have many different users. I feel that we need to study the detail requirements and also study some patterns for this.
I just realized that we need to have a database in place before we can have a fully functional UI. So I'm looking at another 2 more weeks for that.
Well, that is the reason for the user stories. If the team feels the user stories require more time than what we've worked with, then you can use your voting power to come up with a more realistic estimate. So could I just go through again and have everyone revise their estimate? So, Neil?
Yeah, I'm looking at 4 days now.
Okay. Alice?
I only think it's going to take 1 day.
Okay. And Yang?
3.
3 days. Remember, this is the time that you think the team will take, not your own person. So if that changes anything.
I'm sorry, I keep forgetting about the story points. I'm going to change my vote to 5 days.
Okay.
Me too. I'll go for 5 days.
Okay. So we agree with 5 days.
So how do we know when we complete the sprint?
Well, if the product is properly tested, refactored, and potentially shippable, then we can say it's complete or rather done.
That makes sense. Let's work on the tasks.
Okay.
Yeah, let's get that done then.
They come up with the following tasks. This scene illustrates the daily Scrum. This meeting is facilitated by the Scrum Master and is time-boxed, usually to 15 minutes. Sprint team members meet in a room without chairs and tables and take turns in answering 3 questions. 1. What did you do yesterday? 2. What will you do today? 3. What are your impediments? It is expected that every team member be punctual in attending this meeting. The product owner, however, may or may not participate. During this sprint, items for discussion may arise. Such items should be listed in a sidebar and be addressed after the Scrum meeting. SoftWrite Inc. has been awarded the highly coveted Hospital Management System. Sam, the Scrum Master, Anil, the lead software engineer in database, Alice, the UI designer coder, and Yang, the lead software engineer in testing, have all assembled in the meeting room for a sprint meeting for the daily Scrum. Prior to this meeting, the team had met for the sprint planning meeting, which resulted in the following PBI being committed for the sprint.
Thank you all for being here today. As the Scrum Master, I will be facilitating this meeting. Please remember that this is an important project for our company, and what we do today is very important for the success of this project. I have the time boxed this meeting for 15 minutes, so during this time we will take turns answering the 3 questions we always answer in every single Scrum meeting. We'll stand in a circle. All right, who would like to go first?
Well, this is my second Scrum. I believe the questions that we are supposed to answer are: what did we do yesterday? What are we going to do today? What's the last one?
Your impediments.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
All right, to make better use of our time, it would be nice if everyone remembered the process in Scrum development before coming. Anyways, I'm glad that all of us are now on the same page. Let me begin first.
So shouldn't Marlon be here? He is the product owner.
Well, according to Scrum guidelines, it's not necessary for the product owner to attend the daily Scrum. So let's just forget about him and move forward. All right, so yesterday I spent arguing with facilities to provide us a smaller room, as I felt it would make us come closer together as a team and help us collaborate as a self-organizing team. I also spent about an hour speaking with Raj Murphy, our sales lead, explaining to him that since we now started using Agile development process, the protocol which he needs to bring matters to our attention has changed. He needs to bring it to Marlon first as the owner, and then from there he will place it in our product backlog list. Today I will be speaking with Nina Raj, who's having a hard time understanding why she can't approach you directly. As for my impediments, I'm currently the Scrum Master for 5 teams, so at times I feel like I'm messing up, so I need to figure how to straighten things out. Yang, you're next.
Well, it's kind of relaxing for me so far. Yesterday I spent my time mostly on Facebook. That viral video my Dom buddy shared with me was really awesome.
Alright, Yang, you're part of the Sprint team. You just can't waste your time idling at work. Sprint provides us with an opportunity to learn and collaborate. So instead of waiting for Anil, you should have spent some time understanding test-driven development. Also, as you're familiar with code, you probably could have helped with pair programming. Likewise, test cases is another area that you could have worked on. We need to understand that this is a self-organizing team and that we are collectively responsible for collaborating with each other. So, having said that, what is your plan for today?
Well, actually, I plan on doing the same thing I was doing yesterday. But having heard you said that, I guess I will further my knowledge in understanding more about test-driven development so that my actions will not slow down our work and create a negative feeling in the team.
Actually, Yang, I think at this point in time, it would probably be more beneficial for you to focus on the test cases rather than the TDD.
Yeah, thanks, Alice. Yang, please try to prioritize your work. That way, you're okay with this. Anil, how about you?
Yeah, I think I got some pretty good stuff done last night. Basically, I have the schema in place for the database, and I actually created the database. Then I went on to help Tom Morgan's team. They had some issues with the database, and I had free time, so I went and helped them. As I don't have much to do today, I think I'll continue working on that with them.
Alright, Anil, I think we have a problem here. As you know, the sprint is decided upon so that every team member would be occupied with tasks in this team specifically. Remember, in this team, we do not distinguish individuals by tasks. We need to have them help each other out. So you need to talk to your teammates before you reach out to other teams. In fact, for this project, I don't even think you should be reaching out for this one. Once again, we have the time boxed for 2 weeks for the sprint backlog, so we need all hands on deck. So, alright, Anil, let me talk to you offline regarding this. Alice, you're next.
I did some good work on the user interface and working on the login page. I looked at a couple of templates and combinations that we could use to better suit our needs. And as for impediments, I could probably use someone to pair with me as I program.
Okay, so...
This scene illustrates a sprint review meeting. This meeting is open to all stakeholders. In this meeting, the product is demonstrated, the product owner declares if a sprint backlog is completed or not, product velocity is measured if necessary, and stakeholder feedback is obtained. For every week of sprint, 1 hour is time-boxed for this meeting. Once again, the agenda for this meeting is 1. Product demonstration, 2. Status assignment, 3. Velocity measurement, 4. Stakeholder feedback. It is expected that every team member be punctual in attending this meeting. It is very important that the product owner be present. SoftWrite Inc. has been awarded the highly coveted hospital management system. Sam, the Scrum Master, Anil, the lead software engineer in database, Alice, the UI designer coder, and Yang, the lead software engineer in testing, have all assembled in the meeting room for a sprint meeting for the sprint review meeting. In addition, Marlon is the product owner, and Dr. Fred Joshi from Burr Hospital are also present. Prior to this meeting, the development team has carried out a 2-week sprint working on the spring backlog. The following tasks were identified for realizing this feature.
Okay, thank you all for being here today. As the Scrum Master, I'll be facilitating this sprint review meeting. Please remember this is an important project for our company, and its success reflects highly on our company, both to stakeholders like Dr. Joshi here, who will be using the product, and to others who are looking into us. I have the time boxed for this meeting for 2 hours, and we'll be following a very strict agenda. Number 1, we'll go through product demonstration. Number 2, status assignment. Number 3, velocity measurement. And number 4, shareholder feedback. Marlon is the product owner, and the sprint team will demo the product.
Okay, in this sprint, we worked on user login features and the authentication process. Let me show you how it works.
Alice, can you show me how the user account gets locked?
Of course.
Can you now show me the email that this lockout feature sends to the security admin? That way, when the email goes to the security admin, he can respond to it quickly.
Marlon, we never agreed to do that. It's not listed in our sprint backlog.
But I thought I said that during one of our sprint planning meetings. Later in our daily scrum, the customer wanted this.
Martin, that never happened.
I agree.
Unfortunately, due to his busy schedule, Marlon had not been able to make it to all of the Scrum meetings in week 2 and was a little disconnected.
I swear I mentioned this.
Marlon, it looks like the development team was never informed of this, and we'll need to call a new requirement and place it in the PBI.
Alice, can you show me the login, logout, and login again?
Of course.
Well, I'm glad that the authentication works. However, I have a slight issue with how the login window looks. In the beginning, it's in the center, and then somehow ends up in the lower right.
Don't even worry about that. The main thing here is that you're able to log in and log out. I mean, that's what's important with all of this.
Yeah, I tend to agree with Dr. Joshi. This doesn't look right. If we're done with the demonstration, can we not move on to another agenda topic?
Well, if the development team agrees that the demonstration is complete, we can give status to the work produced.
Though the authentication works as desired, I'm not happy with the quality. We need to focus more on the quality. This PBI is not complete. I'm going to add this back to the PBI list.